this is what I'm looking at today. Got me a nice set of stringers. Walk up them. Yeah, landing up the elevation. So I put all these together. And they're going to take concrete tread, which will come at a later date after paint. But now I'm on the handrail part of it. A lot of people don't know how I do them. Some do, but right over there I have my Hossfeld number 2. And there's all the tooling I got for it. More in some boxes, but that's how I use to bend up the handrail. Try to do everything off of that method. Same way as my table setup, but got here, it's all my layouts. And I try to build them in that way there. Just a 2-line with a grab. But with the Hossfeld, I like to double mark it just so I know on that dimension where to bend and how long to bend is. It kind of gives a visual reference for me, makes it a little easier. So I used the program BendTech to start with dimensions, and then I use this formula. I don't know if you can see that too well. This formula in here, and this has been my cheat sheet for years. I don't know how, just miles and miles of handrails I've done, but that'll tell you your material consumption. And BendTech will give me the first number, and then I'll plug it in. I add on to, like say that's a, what I got here, 57.5 degree. That'd be right about there. So that's roughly 3.45 with the 1.25" sketch 40. So it's kind of how I get my layout, and I got a nice cut length, but I'll just leave it long anyways. That's going to be the interesting one because it's got that, see that inner radius there. I want to try to make that one piece, but it's been a long time since I made a handrail, close to 5-6 years, so we're going to see how that one goes. And over here is a Hossfeld. Got marks. I did some sample bends here, so 32.5 and 57.5 and 90. That should be my 3 bends I need, except for that one goofy one. But everything on the Hossfeld is labeled for what pin it goes in, like this one over here. I know that one's upside down. And somewhere, yeah, number 5, pin 5. Got a wraparound die here. And got my transfer mark. That's where I set up the start of the bends. It's got this ratcheting arm, which, as you can tell, I tried to do a 180 and it didn't quite go over like it should, but still bent it. This was something kind of put together in a rush. That was off an old tractor, that was off a snowplow. Bunch of crap I threw on there, but after that, the rest is history. Old clapped out power pack. Yeah, for about, I'll say about 10 years. I'd be doing close to a mile a year handrail on that thing, and I wish I had a nicer one, but you know, the Hossfeld, you can't really beat it, so I fucking love this thing. But again, paid $100 for it. Guy didn't know what it was, and it's gonna throw it in the short steel dumpster. But yeah, nice little slop in there, but still not an issue. So this is kind of how I do my layout. See, that's for the 32-degree bend. I got a piece of stainless that's fairly tight. Kind of wraps around, gives me a nice square line on there. The other end of this has a 32-degree angle coat. Unfortunately, I lent this out to somebody and he bent it, so it doesn't quite slide as well as it used to. But you can see, I kind of, anytime I get into something weird, you see there's a 34. There's an end post cut for a stringer. That's a weird one, which that's for a 3-way corner, but most of the time we use just those stamped sheet metal ones. And just your straight copes. So, inside and outside, kind of handy. Same way here, this one's just a 3-into-1 mid-rail. So, anytime, you know, getting something different, I take the time to make one. It makes it kind of quicker, but at the time they didn't have nothing. Now at Hans they do, so it's kind of neat. They got my idea out, so yep. But pretty much any degree rail. I used to have all these. I don't know where they all ended up, but I think the boss man gave them all away, so I went and had to get these ones back. But real handy and kind of makes it quick, especially the mid rails, which I'll probably show you how to do those. Alright, so now I got it locked in there. I hit it with a little bit of chain lube. So as you can tell, there's my second mark. And you probably can't see it, but there's my first mark in between the shoes. So start the end to bend. Good practice, have seam up. Yeah, just start bending. And there's my 57. As you can tell, that motorcycle grip, I like that a lot better than the foot pedal, especially the way the factory did it. But you really get that fine control out of it. Because this is sloppy, I got this here level box, which I can set exactly to my die. I don't have to use a level. I'll just come over here. This guy. Alright, it says 4.8 degrees down. I'll just pick that sucker up until she's straight. And usually like 0.1, 0, that's fine. I can work that out of it when I weld it, but I'll bump it up a few times and double check it just to make sure she's running flat. Makes my life easier. 32 and a half. Nice and tight to the block. I can actually squeeze it if I have a half a degree, like I think 1/8 inch per degree, so it's not too difficult to understand. So you can kind of see how that 32 degree, now the sun's a little bit bright today, but yeah, mark my line around with a silver streak pencil here. These are great for doing the handrail work because I mean soapstone won't touch it, so do that, and then obviously cut off wheel to cut the angles, and I hit it with the grinder. Let's see, these are 6x040, I believe. Seem to cut pretty slick on these, and then just really 1/4 inch wheel to smooth out the fish mouth. So I'll give her a go. Yeah, that took about 2 minutes, I would say. This is just a test piece, make sure it's tight, but you can tell it's pretty decent. Got a little flat spot on there, but I'm MIG welding it, so that gives it enough meat inside to make it strong, I guess. But yeah, not too much daylight between them. Alright, so now we have an intermediate on the 2 line, I guess, the 2nd line. And you see, this is kind of how I have it laid out with the angle clips. I think these are sheet metal clamps. I don't really know what they're for, but they pretty much hold it down into the clip, so they've always worked. Harbor Freight one, I think. Anyways, they just kind of hold it to the clips, and they seem to work pretty good for that. And you can kind of see somewhere, yeah, there's my line for the vertical post. So I'll just take my square up here, mark a line on either side, and I left this seam, which is a naturally straight edge, luckily. So I'll line up that first cope with that seam, and then second cope, and I have the 2 lines either side, so I know which way to kind of flip my my cope template. So yeah, I'll fix that clamp there. But yeah, that's pretty much how I'll lay out the whole handrail itself. I'll just put them all to the clips, and normally I'd have an extra 10 feet on this table, but ended up cutting that up for a concrete mold. So not ready to build a new table just for one set of handrails. Yeah, there's one handrail. They're all tacked together, just getting ready to weld out. So see, I have all those clamps positioned on there to try to keep it flat. Now I'll weld it on the table just to make sure it stays. It's nothing worse than a dog leg and a handrail, but so far everything looks good. We'll see how it fits on the stringers, but it's not too bad because of how I made my stringers. So we'll see how it goes. One thing about the Hossfeld, I've never had too many issues with repeatability and its accuracy. You know, you gotta set it yourself. She ain't too bad. I do miss having, I used to have a feed table back in there that was hinged. That came out about 15 feet, but that was good for, especially for grab rails. It'd hold it to whatever pitch I had to go to. But for the most part, she fit right on there. Yeah, pretty much like a glove, only had about 1/8 inch gap, so that was pretty good. Well, there's another one. She's upside down, obviously, but you can really tell the quality difference. A nice smooth transition where everything breaks. So should be all ready to go for Monday. Now, but you can definitely tell the quality of a shop by the method they use to make the rails, because usually somebody starting out will just put a sharp miter, which that's kind of unsafe and does not feel good on the hands. And then when they learn a little bit more, they switch to the fittings you buy, but then every transition is 2 welds, and most of the time the grinds are quite sloppy, so. And then they start bending, which I know I fucked up a lot of pipe learning how to do it. I've been running an Ercolina for a bit, but after I got past the learning curve of it, you could honestly save a lot of these posts and save some pipe, because you don't need it on the corner. You could actually kind of wrap that corner with a 90 top and bottom and sidestep it, which I've done that a few times, but it's been a while since I've done it, so I figured take the easy way out, and still got to have that one to make my lines match up looking at it from the side. So try to get it appeasing to the eye, the hand, and everything else, so, and to the inspector.